Wow, one person already. How's that possible? I like to give it a few minutes till people arrive so I don't have to repeat myself. But yeah, things have happened. There's been a kind of major update on the situation I had with a mentally ill, aggressive person in the neighborhood. And yeah, a lot of things going on. So I figured I would live stream for a little while and keep you guys in the loop. Hi. So there's Ken's place. He actually has an amazing little home there. I want to like totally tour it if he lets me one day. He's a great guy. Um, he has a house that's half submerged in the ground and half above ground, and it stays like 65 degrees year round. It's amazing, really cool. And that's our friend who just arrived a little while ago on a motorcycle. Really cool guy, also. Oh, Deb, hi. I was on a Greyhound bus yesterday, and I missed your call, and then I just charged it now for my live stream. So yeah, we should totally talk. Maybe I'll come see you, or you can come see me. We had some pretty major destruction in skate park. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that we built a structure there, raised a barn out of some wood that we were donated, and we made like a movie theater and a projector inside. And one of our crew, Stefan, has a 3D printer, which he got working today, and we're going to use today. So that's really awesome. A lot of stuff going on, but we did have some kind of major construction. So the next few days, we're going to, build new structures here and like clean up a lot. We're finally getting to the outside of the slab. Took us, 3 months to completely clean the pool area and get it back operational as a skate park, and then to clean the slab. And then, we have like, you can see tents, like RVs, lots of school bus over there. So we're kind of like in a densely populated little area here, which I like because I'm all about building community, even when that's hard. Oh, and with Randy, that was hard. You'll sit on the edge of the pool here. Yeah, you know how many times I have had my home destroyed out here and rebuilt? I mean, Val calls it entropy. This is like an entropy zone. It's an extreme environment in a lot of ways. And, you know, if you don't have a very strong permanent structure, like your shit is going to get destroyed. And then it's hard work in an extreme environment to build or buy a strong structure. So, a lot of people here are transient. Like, your tent gets destroyed, you build or find or buy another one, and you move on. So I know that it's going to be like lots of cycles of destruction and reconstruction. I'm okay with that. Um, One thing I think people should warn people who are planning to live in Slab City, which I didn't hear before I got here at all, was that uh, you inevitably will lose everything you came here with. It's a given. So don't bring something you're super attached to. I have a few things that I managed to keep. Sorry, I'm for the weird angle. I still have the original laptop I came here with. I have my messenger bag that I brought from New York City. I have my wallet, and that's about it. Everything else has been completely jacked for me, or lost in storms, or flash floods, or whatever happens is you know as a Buddhist, I try to practice non-materialism. So it's not like I'm okay with it. Like, I still try to protect my stuff and, keep it as safe for as long as possible. And I've done that. I actually have a whole computer lab up there. It's, I'm okay at keeping my stuff. But yeah, if you're going to live in Slab City, for any length of time, you have to, the land and the people will force you to depend on others because your stuff is just, you can't. There are some people who are completely self-sustainable out here. There are preppers and stuff like that. They don't tend to join communities whatsoever. They're like, stake a piece of land, put a big fence up around it, and have their like little, you know, private country. And a lot, there are a lot of like California Republic people out here. There are a lot of libertarians out here. I love it that it's super mixed. Um, you better behave yourself, Tommy. I want you to be able to watch these streams. Don't be a troll. And welcome home. Hi, Ollie. There's Ollie. Ollie, say hi. All right, so let's talk about the Randy thing. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting. I just haven't done a live stream in a while. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. So yeah, the last live stream I did, we were talking about what do we do about Randy. I'm gonna start from the beginning with the Randy story. So get ready for a long story. um, I met him very early on in Slabs. All over the Slabs. Um, he like spins fire and stuff. When I first met him, he was a relatively lucid person. He's actually like really smart, really articulate, and well spoken. Um, but he has a major drug problem on top of mental illness. And, there are a lot of people on drugs out here that doesn't automatically disqualify you from living in Slab City. It's actually really hard. Randy, like everyone knows who he is because he's notorious. And most people like don't like him, and some people were really like, you know, frustrated to the point where like he's gonna get hurt. Not because people are like, there's not a lot of like violence and stuff like people would think, or like maybe it looks like on YouTube. It's a little Lord of the Flies sometimes, but generally like violence isn't tolerated. No one wants to see that. So if you get known as a violent person, then somebody's gonna um, the pieces generally kept, and fights are kept small and one-on-one when possible, and you I find it to be less violent than some of the more low-income communities that I've lived in before. Like it's less violent than the South Bronx in the 80s when I was a kid. There was a lot of violence. I saw a lot of fucking gory stuff out there. Here is not like that. I feel safe. You have to use common sense and stuff, but it's really outsiders who do that. There is a solid core community here of people who are actually slabbers. That means you fucking live here, and and you've lived here for a while. Or you're coming in and maybe you're relatively new, but you're doing big things. Like you fucking open a venue, or you open a food pantry or something like that. Um, Anyway, so when I first met him, it was at the range. He was spitting fire and stuff like that. He was already at that time a little out of it. Like you could see that he was mentally ill and dissociative and things like that. He would stare in one spot sometimes for just like an hour, and like people would be like, "Wow, like what the fuck is wrong with that guy?" And you could talk to him. You could put your hand in front of his face, and he just have the like Vietnam veteran stare. Um, but he was, at that point, at least from my perspective, relatively harmless. There's a lot of crazy people. I love crazy people. So I kind of became friends with him and reached out to him, even though it was hard, because I feel like those are the people who need love the most. It's like the ones that like are rejects among rejects. And I like, I try to take care of people and stuff. So I fed him several times. I would constantly invite him over. And, most people he's banned from like almost every fucking campus, Slab City at this point. But even at skate park here, we were like, welcome him in. you know, not like do whatever the fuck you want, not like you're one of us and go ahead and grab a tent and sleep on the slab with us, but you know, I mean, and he's I would feed him, but then he started like stealing stuff and getting psychotic, and he had a couple of violent outbursts. So after the last live stream, I was in my bed. I wasn't sleeping. I was like reading or something. And somebody walks into my trailer, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, right? Must be one of my buds." There's only like 4 or 5 people in the whole slabs who are gonna just walk right on into my home, you know. So I'm like, "Cool, must be, you know, one of my buddies. Must be Merritt or Grayland or somebody like that, you know." But it was Randy, and I'm like, "Fuck, you're not my friend," you know. And he was just having one of his like moments or whatever. So I pounced up, I like grabbed him, physically removed him. By the time I get to the doorway, my friend Kevin had saw him enter and came running. So you know, I'm not one for like beating people up, especially uh, people who need help. You know, like I mean, I'll fight when I have to fight. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna. It's I've seen so much violence in my life. Like the last thing you want is more violence. So I always try diplomacy. I always try to like minimum force possible. You know. So he's in my trailer. I have to physically remove him, and I do. And you know, Kevin helps me get him out, and then he runs and gets like. I told you he's a fire slinger, so he has like a staff that he like sets on fire on the ends and shit, you know, and spins it around, and he's kind of good at it because he does it a lot. So you have to watch out for that. He also is really good with the knife that he keeps on his right leg. So those are the kind of things that make it like I might have to break this dude's arm so he can't stab me kind of violence, you know, which is like unfortunate, but like, yeah. So that was basically the plan, is just to keep running him off with violent. We were going to have to like do something about it before he hurt someone else, you know? Like I said, if you're showing up in my bed, what if I am sleeping next time? Like, what are you gonna stab me in my sleep? Like, I don't know what this crazy person could do. Plus, he's already gotten caught doing that exact same thing to other people. Like, he got caught in a tourist trailer with his hands around their neck. Thankfully, the like person shouted and screamed, and slabbers heard and went and rescued them. But like, how fucking dangerous is that? You know, like. The hard part is that he's actually a pretty like charming and amiable guy. So, you know, it makes it hard to. You could see that there's some redeemable part of him, and I've seen the lucid part of him too. So, you know, that's why I mean it's like wouldn't do anyone any good. And even if we did beat him up, like I talked about in the last live stream, like what is that going to solve? It's just going to make him mad. He's going to come back and try to burn something down, or he's going to catch one of us when we're vulnerable taking a shit and hit us with a stick, you know? So that's not the answer. If it would work, I might even consider it, but that's not the answer. I just found dabs on the ground, and there's still some in there. Check it out. Ground score. Ground score. Okay, where were we? Um, yeah, so, but we did have like, we started making contingency plans here. Like, you know, maybe we might have to capture him. We started like using those investigative abilities to find his family, find childhood friends of his, and things like that. Like viable. So basically, and this is not only skate park. I mean, all the reasonable people here, like, or a lot of the reasonable people here in many different camps, you know, we all talked about it as a community. Like, what can we do, right? You know, do we capture him? Like, people have already hurt him out here. People have already burned his house down more than once. Um, you know, uh, obviously that's not the answer with this guy. And unfortunately, there's no system in place to help people like this. Like, he's been arrested before. They've tried that. People here have, like, convinced him to get into a car and driven him to a, you know, emergency room and checked him in and everything. And he's back a few days later because I get what to do with him, or they can't hold him, or whatever the situation is. He kills someone, or he gets badly hurt because he, fucked somebody over, or scared someone by sneaking into their trailer in the middle of the night. You know, um, I mean, at that point, people have a right to defend themselves. Like, he's lucky that by doing that, by sneaking into people's bedrooms in the middle of the night, which is super fucking creepy. Um, somebody's gonna kill you, and a good person will kill you. That's how you know you're wrong. When you're like, any reasonable good person would still kill me right now. You're probably over the line. It's actually really hard to get ejected from this place. It's such a welcoming place and tolerant place, and one of the most tolerant places in the world, actually. That's one of the things I love about it, because I'm eccentric and crazy in Babylon, right? But I'm like relatively normal here. People appreciate my eccentricity here, you know. Anyway, so he runs and gets a stick after he breaks into my trailer. He come and I take the stick from him, and he goes and gets another metal stick. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna lightsaber battle right now. I'm a lightsaber battle with this fucking crazy professional staff twirler. Um, but don't sleep. I'm nice with the staff myself, so that's kind of what happened. He's like, give me back my stick, because it really was. I understand that. That's maybe something that like Babylonians don't understand, but like that was his stick, though. You know what I mean? It's a good stick, and people will fight. I might fight for it. Take it away from me. So I get that part. He was pissed that I took his stick, but whatever. He's like out of his mind. He doesn't realize like that he just entered someone's home while they were in bed, without anything, without announcing himself, without saying anything. He just stood silently over my bed, and like that's creepy and scary, and like, yeah, I might have to beat you up for that. Even Lewis might have to beat you up for that. So I told him, go away. I'm keeping your stick. Because I obviously, like, he's trying to hit me with it. So, of course, I'm not going to give it back to him. So he took a metal stick and he ran. We just, we literally like fucking sword fighted for the main road is over there and the skate park is over here. So it was a long fucking sword fight, but I backed him all the way off the block, while we were like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalkering and shit. And it was okay. Nobody got hurt, I wasn't trying to hurt him, and he wasn't able to hurt me. So once I got him off the block, and once I like put my ankle around his back leg and put him down and took the metal stick from him, I gave him back the wood stick, because a stick is a stick is a stick. I understand that. So take your stick, give me the metal one, and get lost. And that worked that day. But the problem is we have to do that with him every day, some version of that. Like he will come up and ask a stranger or a visitor for a lighter. He'll walk onto the skate park, some skating, like even doesn't matter if they're a family or whatever, and be like, "Can I borrow your lighter?" And they give him the lighter, and he lights fucking meth right there in front of them, and gives them back the lighter. I'm like, fuck, you can't do that. That's horrible. We don't want that kind of reputation here. I understand he's an addict or whatever. Go do it somewhere else, though. Come back when like you sleep it off and you need a meal, and we'll feed you. That's it. Like, we don't have no time for people trying to do hard drugs in the living room around here. It's not conducive to the community that we're trying to build. So that happened. He got chased around the slabs by a bunch of people a couple times. And and I went to Los Angeles for the weekend with my kitten, right? Which I do often. So apparently while I was gone, he came back, and like he does, he will like walk over to your solar panel with a marker, write his name on it, pick it up, and just walk out. Not even run, not even hide, just like walks out. And if you run up to him and be like, get the fuck off my solar panel, he'd be like, look, it's mine, it has my name on it. He's like crazy like that. And he kind of really believes these. Like, that's why it's hard to like, normally if somebody's like stealing from you, yeah, you would just like punch him in the face or whatever, you know? But it's hard to do that with somebody who's looking you in the eye and being like, no, this is mine, don't take it from me, you know? Like, oh shit, what do I do with this guy? Um, so yeah, I'm in Los Angeles this weekend and he does it again. Let me do a couple of disclaimers here. Um, this actually didn't happen in the skate park itself. It happened like around the area outside of it. So it wasn't something that happened inside of skate park. That's number one. Number two, I wasn't here. So I can't tell you who the heroes were who subdued and captured and called the police to remove this very dangerous individual. So shout outs to whoever did that. I wasn't here. The police report doesn't say who it was. So they're only going to be the unsung heroes. But mad props to you. Super proud of you guys. So while that happened, he was hogtied. None of the crew was hurt. Randy suffered a fractured finger in the altercation, which I think is an acceptable price to pay. He's fine because he had some priors for this kind of thing, and I would imagine a lot. They're holding him for a while. He'll probably be in there for several weeks. In the meantime, myself and a couple other people in Slab City have been doing our research and have found his family and some of his childhood friends, and we've reached out to them, and they are going to pick him up when he's released. They've already talked to the police. They've already talked to the hospital. They've already talked to me and other people on the ground here, and everybody is trying to work together to get him the help he needs. So well done. No one got hurt in the end. We were able to remove the threat without, you know, anyone paying too high of a price. I think that, you know, at this point, like a few weeks of sobering up is probably going to do him good. So that's that. One of the things I was worried about, Ollie, you follow me everywhere. Where's your collar? Did you escape? Did you escape, Kevin? So yeah, one of the things I was worried about was us being perceived as bullies here, because there's skaters and punks and graffiti artists live at skate park, and you know, not that they're not tough, but they're such good people. Like no one's starting fights, nobody's ejecting people. Like we take it very seriously, being an open community. So you really have to be a piece of shit, and it has to be unanimous among a dozen different people here for us to even do anything about it. Otherwise, the other 11 people are going to tell you like, cool down, this is his home, you know, he has nowhere else to go. That's what we try to do. So I was a little worried about that. Like, ooh, other camps are going to think like we're bullies, or we just willy-nilly like have claimed this public space, and now we're like deciding who gets to be here and who doesn't. And that's not true at all. Like, ask anyone who has landed here. A lot of them are still here. That's the first thing I do when you show up is like, there's a spot there, there's a spot there, there's a spot there, have some food, let's have a beer, and welcome to Slab City, you know? So it's not like elitist at all. Like, I try to help the most people in need. That's why for several months I've been trying to help Randy. I would feed him, I would talk to him. He's even told me before, like, you're the first person to get through to me in a long time. You know, I really appreciated that, you know? But, you know, some people you just can't help. That's it. And you could steal from me or you could scare me, but you can't do that to tourists. You can't do that to other people. You know, he's literally stolen from everyone we know. So, yeah, that's the update on that. I got to read the comments, which I haven't been because I just been telling my story. So you explain that one. Everyone's bad. Everyone's fucking oppressing you. Is that the truth? I didn't make anybody homeless, and like I just spent the last fucking hour explaining, it's not something I take lightly. So you ask yourself what you did to make, and at that time it was like 16, 17 people. And I wasn't the leader, by the way. I wasn't my idea at all. I just had to agree with everyone else. And they were right. And you did it to me too, so what do you want? He could squeal. I mean, first of all, we don't know who tied him up exactly. So there's no plaintiff, you know. I wasn't here. No one at skate park saw anybody tie him up. They just found him. I'm glad somebody did it, and I'm not surprised that it happened. The guys were just happy to call the police and explain it to them. That's all. Anyway, Tommy, I'm gonna block you. Don't be an asshole. Be nice. You wanna watch me on TV? I don't watch you, but you're welcome to watch me, but don't be an asshole. Be a man and call me. Send me a message. All right, I gotta go. Love you guys. Even you, Tommy. Peace.